Hey, this is Jeremy, and welcome to the Daily Devo. Today, we want to talk about loving each other deeply. When I was a teenager, I played soccer. And if you didn't know anything about this sport, allow me to enlighten you. It requires a ton of conditioning. At the end of all of our practices, we would have to run. And my least favorite thing in conditioning was called hill sprints. And at the practice field, there was this huge hill. We would have to run up it as fast as we could and then jog down. If the team wasn't focused or working hard during practice, our coach would add a few extra hill sprints in to make sure we left good and tired. One week after running 10 of these evil things, my coach yelled over to me, he said, "Carpenter, we're going to race. If I beat you to the top, the team runs 2 more hill sprints." Well, now the pressure's on. Couldn't let my team down, so I gave it everything I had. My muscles were straining. I had that tunnel vision you get when you've pushed yourself really hard physically. I barely beat him. You may be wondering what this has to do with love. Well, let's read 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 8, and I'll explain. The verse says, "Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sins." The word deeply is great. Other translations use the word fervently or earnestly. It comes from a Greek word that I won't bother butchering, but the word is used to describe the muscles of an athlete when they're straining to win. So Peter is saying, love in a way that pushes you and strains you. Just like I push myself to the limit for the team, we're here to love each other with the same level of fervency. Love each other deeply. Sometimes our best and worst witness to those who aren't followers of Christ is in how we treat other Christians. If we can't even love each other deeply and fervently, how are we going to love those who are nothing like us? It's like when you go over to another family's house, and maybe dinner starts and everything is okay, but by the end, they're yelling and they're screaming at each other. You probably leave thinking, dang, if they treat each other like that when a guest is around, what are they like when nobody is there? Sometimes I think that's how people view Christians. I get that it's easier said than done. People can be challenging to love at times. The second part of this verse helps us with that. It says, love covers a multitude of sins. Peter isn't saying ignore sin, or that loving people grants us some sort of points with God. We can't earn our salvation. What Peter is saying is love doesn't overblow or agitate sin. Rather than using somebody's mess up to cause division or problems, love covers. I think we all recognize that we aren't perfect or sinless. We make mistakes, even when we mean well. As a follower of Christ, we've set our course away from sin, but often we make mistakes. If you recognize that in yourself, I encourage you to extend that same grace and understanding to others. Forgiveness is a powerful force in our lives. Sometimes we just need to forgive others and move forward. So as we wrap this up for today, let me ask you a couple of questions and for you just to think on. Have you loved other believers deeply and fervently? If the answer is no, have you forgiven them if they hurt you? Let's love each other deeply and forgive others when they don't love or treat us the way they should. Thanks for joining us today on the Daily Devo.